let's continue our anatomy series, anatomy of abdomen. Okay, in previous video we saw the basics of embryology of abdomen. Now continue with the foregut. Okay, I am drawing here a tube. This is a foregut. Okay, initially it give one diverticulum. It is called as respiratory diverticulum. Okay, now go downward and it give a bud called hepatic bud. Okay, now go downward and it give ventral pancreatic bud. Now ventral is there, so dorsal will be there definitely. So here it is a dorsal pancreatic bud. Okay, this is the overview of foregut. Now let's study one by one each segments. Let's start with respiratory system. It developed from respiratory diverticulum. Okay. It is also called as laryngotracheal diverticulum. Development of respiratory diverticulum, it is the first sign of development of respiratory system. Okay, now let's study how it developed. It developed from the tracheoesophageal fold. Laryngotracheal fold. This is laryngotracheal fold. Okay. We know that from the previous diagram. Here is respiratory diverticulum. Okay. Now I am going to cut this section like this and seeing from above. So it will look like this. Okay. Here are two tubes. First is pharynx, or there is primordial laryngotracheal tube. It grows medially. We are looking like this. It is like this. It growing medially. Okay. Now there is formation of septum called tracheoesophageal septum. Okay. Formation of tracheoesophageal septum. Okay, it's separate tracheoesophageal septum, separate food tube and respiratory tube. Okay, let's continue. Next, Now there is separation of food tube and respiratory tube or laryngotracheal tube. This food tube, it is respiratory tube. Okay, respiratory tube has two parts. One is cranial, other is caudal. Cranial part form trachea and larynx. Caudal part form lower respiratory tract. Okay, these are the all about respiratory system development, and some important part are there, some important questions were asked from this topic. Okay, let's start with the developmental anomaly of respiratory tract. Most important or most common anomaly are trachea, esophagus, fistula. Okay, these are the most common developmental anomaly. Okay, there are 6 types. We'll discuss one by one. Okay, first, most common, not most common, it is first type. Trachea. Okay, this is trachea. This is esophagus, which is not developed clearly, completely. Okay, this is a proximal part of esophagus, and this is a distal part of esophagus. This is trachea. Okay, this is the first type of anomaly. First type, it is an esophageal atresia. Now coming to the second type, trachea. There is formation of proximal tracheo-esophageal fistula and distal esophageal atresia. In first type, there is both proximal and distal esophageal fistula atresia. In type 2, there is proximal tracheo-esophageal fistula is present, but there is distal esophageal atresia. It is type 2. Coming to the type 3, trachea. There is proximal esophageal atresia and distal esophageal tracheo-esophageal fistula. Here proximal esophageal atresia is there, and below there is distal tracheo-esophageal fistula is present. It is type 3 or C. It is most common. Okay, coming to the 4, type D, trachea. Okay, this formation of proximal tracheo-esophageal fistula along with distal tracheo-esophageal fistula. Okay, this is type 4 or D. Coming to the next, fifth or sixth. Sixth is trachea. Okay, there is formation of common tracheoesophageal fistula. Type fifth. It is also called as H type tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay, this type E. Next, last one. There is no tracheoesophageal fistula. There is presence of only esophageal stricture. Okay, this is type 6 or F type. Okay, these are the congenital anomalies of trachea and esophagus. Coming to the next most important topic. What are the developmental sequelae of lung? Developmental sequelae of lung. You can remember this by a simple trick, that is EPCSA. Okay, in competitive exam they ask their sequence like this: E for embryological development, P for pseudo glandular development, C for canalicular development, S for saccular development, A for acini development, alveolar development. Okay, these are the developmental sequelae of lung. And one last topic. One important substance present in the lung, that is surfactant. Which reduces the surface tension and facilitated the diffusion. Okay, now how it will develop? It will develop in the prenatal period, in antenatal period. Okay, how it will develop? It is secreted by fibroblast producing cells. Okay, it stimulates fibroblast pneumocyte factor. Okay, fibroblast pneumocytic factor stimulate the type 2 pneumocyte. It will produce surfactant. Now, in some females there is a chances of preterm birth, so we'll give steroids for lung maturation or synthesis of surfactant. So it will prevent respiratory distress. Okay, these are all about the development of respiratory system. Thank you.